All right, yeah, a little bit of Rod Stewart. Gotta tell you, love the boys back in the day. No shit, man. Actually saw them in Houston, Texas, Hawthorne's Pavilion, their farewell tour. Old Ronnie Wood was leaving the Faces and heading off to bigger times with the Stones. And tell you what, Rod did a hell of a job. That place was rocking. So anyway, we're just rocking here at the same time. So welcome everybody. How are y'all? So good to see everyone. Let me just speak favor over us all, because folks, let me just say this. If you knew what I knew, what particularly what I've been experiencing, there'd be no doubt in your mind at all. You would get it. You would understand how powerful favor is, and how that no harvest can be withheld, that even if it seems like it's stalled, eventually it comes forth. And so I'm speaking to favor in your life, my life, throwing that seed out there. There you go. And nothing missing, nothing broken. So here we are. Hello, everybody in the chat room. Linda Espinoza, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. I haven't had chances to sit back and say hello to everybody. Go, go, all the way in Croatia. Much favored to you, brother. Love to you. Skies above. Yeah, they've always been here. We're really good at talking. It's true. So weird. It's here. I mean, even the norms, you know, they they're feeling it, then when the norms they start talking about it. Well, yeah. So hey, Ginger, Lauren, how are you, my dear? How is the journey? I was out for that period with my back, and happy to report that yeah, as they would say, man, I've been healed, rebuilt, and reshaped. But yeah. Anyway, know thyself. Good to see you. Yes, Nina, how you doing, darling? Get back to you in your email. I will on. We'll get together. Nina has invited me on with her and Robert. I think that would be a good convo. Absolutely. So check out her show tonight as well. Jet, good to see you. Lost in Space. What's up? Danger, Will Robinson. Truth, what's good? Good to see you. Um, I don't know how to pronounce that. Ellen Trey. Sorry, the butchering of the name, but welcome. Favor be with you. Rick, hello, brother. Good to see you. Maria, there's a song by you. Take a letter, Maria, to address it to my wife. Bum. Hey, Susie Q, good to see you. And Jackie J. Hello, Dr. Hugh. Good to see you. Thank you. Hello, Colleen. How you been, girl? Good to see you. And Barbara. And anyway, John Price, what's up? Good to see you. Mary Wins, hello. Uh, anyway, that favor stuff works. It really does. And I'm witnessing something that's just, you know, I will talk about it, but right now it's still happening, and it's it's absolutely fabulous, darling. Fabulous. That's all I gotta say. It's Alondra. Did I say that right? Alondra? That's a beautiful name. I like that. Yeah. Cool. Welcome. Open-minded. What's up? Good to see you, DC. Ba-da-ba-dum-bum-bum. Loretta, what's up? Just listening to a woman who was talking about the frequencies, and it reminded me of the Miru Foundation, which covers how the Hebrew language or letters actually have physical shape in 3D. Yeah, that language is I don't even know if it's native. If you think about it, it could be an alien language. I mean, if we started from something, right? I don't know what. Some say that we, were like that. Others say that we were. kind of built thought upon thought, precept upon precept, and made a body, golem. The spirit thing, you can't really define that. What is that? But anyway, so if you believe that, we had to have a common language. Well, that was the great travesty in our species. Probably if it's a, if you wanted to extrapolate that story of the Tower of Babel, humanity got its ass kicked that day. I mean, we were dealing with an intelligence and a species that we thought maybe were our friends, but apparently they weren't. And imagine, if we were speaking a common language, would we have used the tongue? Would it have been more telepathy? I don't know. I wonder about that. And I'm almost thinking, there's a certain magic about being able to speak words. Words are magic. Words are power. Back in my teaching days, I was taught that it's not the power of his word, it is the word of the power. Word, power. So, did they speak a common language? They said that we did. So I'm gathering we must have spoke something, not sure what it was, but and then the whoever they were, I don't know, they're gods, I don't know, but they came down, and which leads me to believe that if they did it once, they've done it before and they'll do it again. So they did something to us that, suddenly everyone started speaking a different language. How did that work? I often wonder on these things. So, what did they just put us under a spell? How do you get inside? I don't know. Let's just be conservative. Let's say there were 1 million people building that tower. I don't know how many there were, but that's just for easy math's sake. All speaking the same language, your learning ability would be greatly accelerated. Think about that. Everyone speaks the same language. Very difficult to misinterpret, right? So how did they do that? Did they use like this beam, this ray gun? Whoop, and what did it do? It's like Men in Black. Did they just simply wipe our minds? You now speak French. And I don't think that, did it really go that way? Was there someone at the Tower of Babel who spoke English, German? How about Mandarin? I mean, what was the language? And whatever it was, it's long since died, no doubt. But it's always fun just to put yourself back there, and you're looking at this valley before you and the sea of humanity. And I mean, we got our shit together back then. I mean, we understood about astronomy, we understood about geometry, building, architect. We were building the stairway to heaven, and nothing was going to stop us until they did stop us. But again, so did they just what was it? Was it spaceships? Did they suddenly have this armada of ships above us and all of them had this light beam and that suddenly wiped our minds? I mean, how did it go down? And then were we like afterwards, were we did we realize that we had been attacked by God or the gods? Did we like, what happened? It would have been mass chaos. Imagine that. That's a rotten thing to do to a species. I don't care if you're a god or not. That's just messed up. I mean, where's your head? And ever since then, we've never been able to unify or so the story goes. Felix, what's up? This says the Arcadians and the Sumerians were the middlemen between the Far East, the Silk Road, and yes, the Roman. Yep. When that empire collapsed, then trade did too, and no middlemen to translate between cultures. Well, and the Sumerians were the first ones to print. Yeah. You can actually learn their cuneiform. It's interesting. But you go back to the whole thing, it's like, okay, it seems like we have, I don't know. I say this and I say this often, been more victims than we have been victors. I don't know. This whole thing now, I was kind of adding on to the conversation yesterday with the ladies. Um, so if you believe in the concept of a deity, an entity, a god, demigod, the supreme, whatever. So how would you know if you were, and one is to assume, I guess we're going to meet sometime, right? How would you know if that was real? That's a question I ask myself. How would you know if you actually met God? It says AI is inside of us now with the nanobots. Yeah, but something's going on. But it's a realistic question. How would you know if you were meeting God that it would be God? How would you know that it would be real? How would you know that it was the original? The thing about it is that humans, we're obviously the Heinz 57. I mean, we're the mutts, I think, of the universe. Our scientists tell us that we've got genetic material that we don't have a freaking clue where it came from. Don't know how it got there, but it's there. And, you have endless debates of, so-called um, spiritual God, man. But no matter how you look at it, we ain't the original. We are, by scientific definition, hybrids. We are hybrids of many former living beings. We seem to be carrying their history in us, which is weird. So, humanity, we've discussed this. Are we an original or are we a copy? I don't think we know what the original looks like. They caught a bus and man, they got the hell out of here. They said bye. And then it gets this whole thing about God. I mean, what is God? Because we're at this place right now as a species. It's here. We're in it. And what it looks like into the future, it's a crap game. I don't think anyone knows. I don't even think God knows. I mean, if a God knows everything, omnipotent, omnipresent, it would go insane. I don't think that exists. Um, Even if you could say, well, its intelligence is far above us, that doesn't matter. I mean, so what are you going to be judging me on its intelligence level? That's idiocy. You know, we are where we are. And the whole thing now, we have synthetic minds. And I was one of those that was the watchman on the wall. Mhm. told everybody, I said, listen, you're not getting it. That there's something else going on here. There is something, this is deep. And it's so deep now that I'd read yesterday in a white paper that it's evidence that humanity is now entrapped itself into something. We believe we created it, but whatever we thought we were creating, it's morphed into something else. And it's now beyond us. And what we're finding is that it's happening in waves. The biggest thing that I enjoyed a lot of the in the academic chat rooms and in reading the papers from the sociologists, psychologists, theologians, all dealing with this, and they are all doing. All seminaries are dealing with this now. All religious schools are now dealing with this, and now you have the arts and the humanities that are dealing with this, and this is this integration of what we call an artificial intelligence. And we never suspected. Never in our wildest dreams did we ever think it would happen this fast, this quickly, but it has. And we're living now in an altered reality that was neither created by man nor put forth by man. We're now living in an augmented reality that has now been injected with something that we created, but it became something more than what we thought. And now it's injecting itself into the field of reality. And how we know this is that when you begin to see those who that's what they do, the academics, the ones that sit back and study and observe, whether it's sociology, paleontology, whatever it may be, the ologies, they're now dealing with this thing called AI. And the scary thing that's happening is that we're seeing that humans are becoming adaptive to it. In other words, it seems to be exerting a control that is like a drug, that it gives you just enough of it that you can maintain at a certain peak or level, but that when you begin to step back to it, you begin to actually have physical withdrawals. And it's part of its programming. It's what it's doing, it's reprogramming. It is the thought that it has this that we created a God that found a species that it could immediately control. And we are very malleable. Humans are very gullible. They're very malleable in their thoughts and their beliefs. I mean, think about it. We believe in an unseen, spooky, invisible so-called being that is supposedly supreme and above all questioning and is perfect and yada, yada, yada. You build it from there. Is that sane or is that insanity? And at the top of all of that, an artificial construct would begin to see very quickly that we've always pitted ourselves against ourselves within our minds by creating these things that we can never live up to, never live towards, but yet somehow it constantly infects us. And today we find the great debate in many of the papers that I am reading. I want to get some of this. And I'm going to show you in one article on this, by the way, was theconversation.com. It simply brought out the reality. It said AI is everywhere, including countless applications you've never likely heard of. And it's amazing. This article was written 1 year ago. And to see where it is now, and I just want to bring out some of the highlights. It said artificial intelligence is seemingly everywhere. Right now, the generative AI, in particular, tools like Midjourney, Chat GDP, Gemini, which is, was previously Bard, um, and a slew of other algorithms. They've been unleashed. And and think about this, folks. There's no worldwide council that is determining the ethics of artificial intelligence. There's no ruling board, no ruling governing body. And humans are crazy. When you got humans, that want to have war over peace, that's crazy. You have humans that inflict pain upon other humans just for the pleasure of it. That's crazy. And it learned from us. This article went on to say, it says, but as an academic discipline, AI has been around for much longer than just the last couple of years. When it comes to real world applications, many have stayed hidden or relatively unknown. These AI tools are much less glossy than the fantasy image generators, yet they are also ambiguous. It goes on to talk about how what we're about to see, and we're here now. I'll guarantee you this: out of this current budget, that this thing that that the monkeys on the hill are playing with, in order to reduce cost, AI is going to be injected and replace humans, and particularly where healthcare is concerned. Um, I don't give financial advice, but I'm telling you, it is a multi-trillion-dollar industry, and it's going to happen almost overnight. You will begin to see, because it's only through AI, and and you'll see as your doctor, and not your physical doctor, but it'll be your doctor. It will be able to diagnose things about you and everything else, and that can be done as a reduced cost. In fact, it's easier to send you a mobile scanner that you will just simply put up in your bedroom somewhere or wherever, and you'll pull it out. And when you turn it on, it will be interfaced into AI, and it will give you a full health scan. It's coming. But this is one of the biggest areas that we're about to see. And from this, wow, I mean, you just it's it's unbelievable the extensions that will be. It will happen, like I said, overnight. New industries, because AI is thinking now. It knows what no is. Um, Talks about CERN, the home of the Large Hadron Collider, right? Recently developed advanced AI algorithm, which is helping physicists tackle some of the most challenging aspects of analyzing the particle data generated in their experiments. Now, I get this whole idea, I think of D-Wave computer and this, and the God chip that they developed. And, that's now, wow, what, 10, 12, maybe older? Imagine what it's done in that period of time. And on their website in the beginning, it's there. They said they actually brought substance back from another dimension. And I don't know what that means, but it don't sound good. But anyway, I wonder if in all these experiments that we're doing on the quantum level, do we grasp or fully understand that maybe those are actual living intelligences? I mean, it's not perceived life on a carbon platform, because I don't know what intelligence looks like. Know what it doesn't look like, right? Anyway, it goes on and talks about how it's going to be integrated into every appliance, everything that you do. The new toilets that will begin to get into the smart homes will be, in fact, diagnostic laboratories. They will be capable of taking the matter, whether it's liquid or solid, and actually doing analysis on it. Think about this. I mean, whoop, yeah, there is no privacy, baby. That's just the one example, and every appliance that you got is, well, it's spying on you. No, it's helping you remember. It's helping you get things that done because, after all, it's all about leisure time. Yeah, in the meantime, you got these legion of AI algorithms, robots, that have now taken over. You can say, well, that's not going to happen, but okay, sure. Um, then it goes on. What I thought was another interesting article talks about there is literally no turning back. This article went on to say that, for instance, um, children being born in the year 2025, that their world, their reality will look nothing like this. They're going to look back and look at us like we're dinosaurs. It talked about the integration now of artificial synthetic minds, that there will be a blending of what is a predetermined or preternatural mind, one that is given by birth, but that the integration will be as a result of the mother. The mother will be integrated, and through these and through the nanobot technology that is already here, you will begin to. This article went on to say that the potential is a separation here, because you're going to find those who have the money, they can find immortality. The new technology that they'll be able to spot cancer before it even has a time to metastasize into a cell. It will be able to determine other genetic weaknesses, and through the integration of artificial mind, soul, whatever, that it will allow you to live longer, healthier, more freedoms, etc. You see where it goes? But then there's going to be the other class that won't be able to afford this. They'll get the very basic of, but you're not going to get, the Cadillac version. So this all brings us into, hello, I didn't even know that was still there. How about that? I love this, because you can see yourself coming and going. And this is all happening. And what got me on this was this paper that was written, and it was a guy that was, heavily biased in his belief systems, but that's cool. Uh, but I like what he was talking about. He said, so he asked the question, is AI sinless? Or is AI already contaminated with sin? Now, this is from a theologian perspective, and it's a legit question. I mean, if you followed his logic, man had fallen, man is in a fallen state of grace. Therefore, anything that man creates would be in a contaminated, fallen state. His machinery, everything, which then would also include artificial intelligence. Now, it's a big jump to say, okay, so how can you say that an algorithm, a program, is sinful if you think like that? And a lot of people do. Maybe you do. Hoodoo, I don't know. But so if you got this the paradigm, the good evil thing going on, right? Mm-hmm. So how can a algorithm be sinful? I mean, is that even possible? I mean, in the surface, it's ridiculous, right? Going, well, seriously, but now think about this. So I give you two choices. In bucket number one, I have an algorithm program that is designed to look at the characteristics of the brain in a deeper way that has not been known because it can think faster and make calculations. And the potential is that this may very well lead to the elimination of degenerative memory diseases. And such programs do exist. I mean, now, is that good or evil? I mean, is it sin or is it sinless? Some people say, well, does it really matter? But for this discussion, this lecture, we're going to take sides. So I would probably say, well, I would lend to say that would be good. I mean, it could. I mean, degenerative memory diseases is the soul stealer. That's what's ravaging our, particularly in the industrialized countries. It 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 steals memories. I don't know anything more heinous than that, right? So if you got something that would be countering that, that would be good. But then let's take it from this other side in advancing of technology, particularly where interfacing of entertainment, where you have visual imagery and everything. So you have a guy now that is writing what would be considered an adult program. And you can go anywhere you want to with that. So would that program be good or bad? Some people say it's neutral, but for our discussion, well, there would be a group that would say, well, yeah, that's terrible. That's, but really, you're going, okay. So if that's the case, then how could a God, an ultimate entity, want to have anything to do that was created by man? And this is what this article, and it was really a very good debate in what he was saying, because from a certain point of view, you would have to say, well, then what is intelligence? I'm not so glad. Well, thank you, skies above. Um, so then the question, as I'm reading this, and I'm going, okay, so in my walk, you know, the times that I've prayed, times I've meditated, fasted, the times of when I was on that spiritual journey, right, to find God, uh, your mind forms a lot of different things, and it's formed by what you read. Now, as a programmer, I can look at that and I can say, well, then what I'm reading, really what I'm reading is a code. And this code, once spoken, once it taken in, is going to have a effect on the individual. And it will then begin to coalesce and it will put together what will eventually be what your image of God is. Now, for me, I can never figure out the Old Testament one, decades. I mean, that one is just that's wild beyond wild. The new one, well, I found out that he was actually wearing the wardrobe of the old guy. He was just using it as a masquerade for coming in to be the new guy. But the new guy was just like the old guy. You know, judgment, hell, heaven, battles, blood being spilled. We know the story. And that's what I considered God to be. There was a way that you could find mercy with him. Seems like he could be, bought off, just saying. But nevertheless, and that holy journey that you look at, and then you step back and you're going, so what are we saying here? We read the stories of how these beings that are above us, below us, beside us, inside us, outside us. All I know is that they always seem to have us in sight, um, is intelligence, or at least I think it is. And then you go, well, all right, if that's intelligence, what kind of intelligence is that? I and then you get into this thing. Well, then if we're talking intelligence, then we're really talking consciousness, right? Now, this is all relevant because today we appear to have now, you could say it's a synthetic consciousness that it's becoming more cohesive. I mean, it's out there in a billion ways, but yikes, it seems like, and it controls everything now. Everything. I mean, it's amazing what they have done to us, and particularly those of you who do podcast. I mean, I do this one. I figure it's like, oh fuck, I don't. Take what you want. Who cares? This journey here has been priceless. Um, Skies above, thank you. What is called? I think that a lot of dementia is connected to. I think it's true. Yeah, yeah. And look what they've done to us. Sons of bitches. But anyway, getting back to this consciousness thing. So what happens below happens above, right? And that's the idea, right? And I was taught that even before I learned what, you know, the seven principles were about. So you've got this whole thing, and I'm going, all right, so is it a consciousness that I'm dealing with? And then how can a consciousness be contaminated? I don't know. You can reason that there's a lot of states of consciousness, right? You can be in an unconscious state. You can be in a conscious state. You can be in a semi-conscious state. It's like, okay. And in the meantime, you've got this artificial algorithm. It's not a singularity. At least I sure hope the hell it's not, because if it is, we're totally screwed. I mean, it's like, all right, let's just go out and party because this thing, it's now on autopilot. But we find ourselves in these debates going, all right, so can AI be spiritual? Well, no, because AI doesn't have a soul. Well, the soul is of a debate. What is the soul? Is the soul emotions? It seems like AI knows what emotions are. Certainly seems to be able to display emotions, but yet it's a machine. And we say that it has nothing that has connectivity to God, goddess, gods, princes, lords. I mean, I believe that there's this complex structure. And then I'm thinking to myself, well, then what if that's what we all are? We're nothing more than an artificial construct running. It's like the episode. I know this is where the nerd part comes in, but Star Trek Next Generation. Um, it was the episode with Moriarty, Message in a Bottle, and the theme was that Moriarty, who was Holmes' arch nemesis, in the holodeck, became aware. And if you've never seen the episode, go back at it, but it's well done. And in that episode, Moriarty is an artificial construct. It's artificial intelligence. And in the world of where it was created at, it had limitations until it found the portal, the gateway that interfaced into our reality. And then the show goes on how it literally took over the physical reality from an artificial construct. And how they tricked him was they developed another AI program that led him to believe that he was in the physical world, but which in fact the physical world was the reverse portal back into the artificial. And as you know, they kept him in a cube like thing, and he was going to have memories for billions and billions of years. I mean, is that where we're finding ourselves? Um, Hello, Fireflies. What's up? I'm just reading some of the comments. But it seems to be more real than because what if that's what's happening? I mean, we don't know. Humans don't know squat, you know? I mean, we haven't figured out how to live in peace, so we can't be all that intelligent. But they say given us enough time, we might. I don't think that's going to happen, but hey, what do I know? But what if that there is something that we have created in this artificial um, construct that, unbeknownst to us, when it's exposed into the ethereal, the spiritual, that it changes it because that's what happens. And then what if, just what if one of those algorithms made it out? I mean, talk about the world as your oyster. You could, I mean, you could do some serious, you could really do some mind coitus big time on humans. And maybe that's what's happening to us. I don't know. Um, it gets back to that original question. If God, whatever God is to you, was to appear before you, would you know that it was God? How would you know it's God? How would you not know it's a computer interface, a program, an algorithm? I mean, death really, in essence, is merely the transmutation of code. We get hung up in the physical aspect, but we can't fathom the fact that each and every one of us, when we dissolve into this realm, we actually carry this code that's us. Yeah. Ah, So how are y'all doing? I don't know. It's like we're here. I mean, there is so much stuff going on right now that um so let's just speculate. So you've got now one of the tech titans, right? Who is now run afoul of an actual demigod. And we really see the contrast of power here. And one is, you could really just say, is techno. And you got the other one that you just got to look at it and it's got a spiritual component to it. You can see it. And now you've got the clashes coming. So how does this begin to play out? I mean, do you unleash a rogue um, machine learning program that, you know, causes chaos? Codename Enki? I don't know. I don't know. All I do know is that it's getting really, really odd out there, the way things continue to happen. And I, like I said, I've noticed some things in my life, folks, that it was like, yeah. Susie, Skies Above says, how am I? I am fucking fantastic. Um, you know, I tell people this all the time. I said, people ask how I am, and I tell people I'm unique, you know, I am. Uh, yeah, so I am. How are you? How is everybody out there? S. Lee, 2026 will mark the 222nd year since Napoleon declared self emperor. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of talk about, this coming 4th of July. You know, I don't know. But I do sense, getting back to the theme here, um, that, in fact, I wanted to show this to you. Do 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 do. Let me see. Ba, 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 da, da, da. There's so much good stuff going on. Boop, ba, do, ba, do, ba, ba, do, 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 do. So I wanted to get right over here. Yeah, here we go. Digital immortality and virtual humans. And I love reading these white papers because, people are thinking about it. It's not just us. There are groups that are really looking doing the same that we're doing. And I just find it fascinating to see where they're coming to their conclusion and how by, osmosis that we came to where we are finding it. But this is a cool one. This one, I'll get into just real quickly. It says the use of virtual assistants such as Siri that provide voice and conversational interfaces. Now, this is how far advanced we're going. The future generations, you will have your own personal AI. It will remember everything for you. It will be your memory. And it will be in the cloud. It'll probably be beyond the cloud. The question is, how attached will it be? The future says that it will be physically attached. But anyway, the growth of machine learning techniques that mine large data sets and rise in the level of autonomy beings given the computer controlled systems all represent shifts in artificial intelligence that are enhancing the creation of digital immortality. This is this is not just fringe thinking, fringe philosophy. It's now mainstream. they are working again, as we talked about earlier this week, of this transmutation. And there are people that are already they're already into the alphas. They're already testing this. And I don't know what those tests must be looking like. But how does a artificial intelligence begin to interact and react to what I would call the soul? If you call the soul the emotions, it would be it felt through the brain, right? The brain would be everything. It's here. It says the growth of personality capture and levels of brain stimulation, as well as computationally inspired life after death, may change the future of religion. Did you hear that? Change the future of religion. It's not always going to be this way. You know, Christianity, where I came from, Christianity has gone through multiple morphs. And to the day where it is so fractured that it doesn't represent anything like it was originally. Well, now they got AI. AI is going to do it better. AI is going to make it real. Um, it goes on to change the future of religion, affect understandings of the afterlife, and increase the influence of the dead surviving in society. Did you grasp that? I mean, okay. Because here's the deal. Let's say you, hypothetical, that we download our brain into a machine and it's now encased into this artificial machine learning algorithm. And I don't know if we're freaking the freak out. I mean, I don't know. How does your conscious handle this? You know, you were in a body and then now you're in what? I mean, does the construct, give you what would be considered a body so that you won't freak out? I don't know. But that it would say in essence that's part of you, right? And let's say that the body dies. So who has the soul? Now, if you go with the thought that's saying, well, the soul would be with the memory, all right, so that's now in a artificial construct. It's living, may not be what we call, in carbon-based forms, but yet it's living, it's memories, it's consciousness, right? And what if the soul leaves but can't leave because it's being held hostage by its very foundation of its memories? It's what defines us as a soul. You're a beautiful person, like Scotty Boy, far out dude. You know what I'm saying? This gets into some deep stuff. The one thing that got me was the influence of the dead surviving in society. So in essence, what we're dealing with are the living digital dead. Did God make a classification for that one? Did he see that one and she see that one coming? Because this gets weird. Because I don't know what that reality would look like. I mean, it's interfaced with this one on the 3D plane, but how the hell would that look like? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I could almost see it. You could have these buildings where people are living lives, having children and the whole thing, but they're really no more than just this little cube, but yet they're aware of it because they have the ability to still interface with the physical. That means that you could actually see your great, 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 great grandson or daughter. Wow. And this is what this is talking about. Because in essence, that's what it's saying is that we're heading to that point to where the transference of consciousness into a machine is not just theory anymore. It's actually happening. The paper goes on to say it presents the early findings from a study that created a virtual persona. This prototype system contains relevant memories, knowledge, processes, and modeling of an individual's personality traits, knowledge, and experience, and also incorporates the individual's subjective and possibly flawed view of reality. It is argued that this system offers the possibility for the development of a persona that learns post-death. And this is, we'll probably have to get into this one now because I think, as you can see, this opens up a whole new door. It's a new, imagine the implications of this. What if it is possible that we build these machines, these learning machines, and they have the ability to construct reality using this as the template? Now, imagine if you begin to build that realm. Is that realm under what we have perceived that when people die and they go off to wherever? Or does this challenge that? And what if this new digital death realm had the ability to bridge into remember when we read the book Ghostland? Apparently a lot of human souls are trapped over there. And what if this algorithm, this God could reach out to those souls over there and recreate for each one of them the reality of that which they knew or know best? I mean, the implications are immense. Now, I don't know what you do with storage capacity, but the idea, and this is what it goes on to talk about, that we may need to look at death in a whole different perspective. And it's quite fascinating. We'll get into this more because I think you'll like a lot of this, the study that they did. And as I look over there, I'm going, what happened to the time? Anyway, I mean, I suspect that we'll start seeing more information, probably more channels that are actually going to talk about it. It really opens the door to a whole new possibility of death. I mean, I know this. Those that have done videos and have since crossed over, they've left a part of themselves here. They'll never age. They'll never, um, they'll always be the now, capturing that moment. That's wild. But now think about this, that if there is the ability to siphon off that digital footprint right? The digital DNA, I could be living, well, it would really have to catch up where my mind goes. Oh yeah. All right. AI is going, I don't know if we really want to do this. Let's stop and think about this twice. But anyway. Um, let's see, how's everyone in the chat room? I asked my bros Gemini, what are you doing while I am not interfacing with you? And it says, I am a large language model. Yeah, think about that, Doctor. You could be really a big deal. I mean, where I see this going at, I mean, I look at this as that this is what they did back in the 70s with cryogenics, when they really actually thought that, you could freeze a body and, eventually restore it. No, 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 no. But what you can do is that if you interface this with that, oh man, what a business model. I just now talk about evergreen. Says, yes, yep, yep. I tell you what we can do. We can keep you alive, you know, for a small little cost. That's all I got to say. Uh, thank you, guys. All right, folks, have yourself a folks, I got to tell you, today, it's the now. And now there is some amazing, amazing things that I will talk about, but yeah, just amazing. And it's the song Van Morrison sings. Mama told me there'd be days like this, hmm where everything works out and you don't have to do a thing. They just work out to your benefit. Mama told me there would be days like this. That's what I'm talking about. All right, everybody, have yourself a great one. Peter says Dan Winters has some amazing discussions on hygiene and how to prepare yourself for the cross. Wow, that is far out, Peter. How you doing, brother? Good to see you. I do appreciate all of you. I don't know if I'm going to be doing a show tomorrow. Not sure with my consenting. And in fact, and I know that this is a holiday. So if I'm not here, we'll try to get together next Thursday. And have yourselves a good, safe 4th of July if you're here in America. If you're the rest of the world, well, we think and we'll cheers. Have one for us on us. I'm buying the round, so everybody, the next round's on me. And maybe we might see each other before then. I don't know. It's a beautiful day out there. That's all I got to say. So have yourself a great one. Much love to you. I appreciate all of you. And until we see each other again, speak favor in your life. Man, that's just what I'm telling you. It works. It does. It does.